I started training, it took me 6 months to get to my first pull-up. Then I went from 1 to 10 pull-ups in one set, and ever since, pull-up has been my favorite exercise. Before I developed the overuse injuries in my elbows, I managed to get a 60 kg weighted pull-up with a slight kick for 1 rep. And guess what body part is the strongest in my body when it comes to the amount of musculature? That's right, it's the back. The lats specifically. So let me tell you exactly what are two best methods in my opinion to increase your weighted pull-up and develop huge lats as a side effect. And it's not only lats, weighted pull-ups build your whole back, the rhomboids, the teres major, traps even. So yeah, it's really worth it to increase your weighted pull-up. The first method is 3 times 3 to 5 times 5 step loading. This method comes from Dominic Sky. He is like a beast in calisthenics and weighted calisthenics. It's pretty much the main progression scheme I used to get to my 60 kg weighted pull-up. It basically consists of choosing a round number of weight, for example 10 kg, and then working with these 10 kgs for like 1 or 2 months before making a bigger jump to 20 kg. So we don't increase the weight by like little amounts, we just stick to one weight, work with that, rotate our sets, intensity, volume, and then jump straight to a lot bigger weight. The exact order of changing reps and sets basically consists of increasing the amount of reps first and then increasing the amount of sets. But when we increase the amount of sets, then we also decrease the amount of reps. So this progression scheme is very good, very effective, especially for beginners and intermediate athletes. But if you count all the progressions, there is 9 of them. And that's pretty much the only downside to this method, that if you are not a beginner who can progress 2 or 3 times per week, but you're for example an intermediate and you progress once a week, then this method will be pretty slow for you. Beginners who progress 2 or 3 times per week will make weight jumps every like 4 to 6 weeks, accounting for deload weeks. So if you are an intermediate, it might take you even 3 months to increase your pull-up by 10 kgs. But again, if you are an intermediate, your weighted pull-up is probably already pretty good, so obviously it's a natural thing that the more advanced you are, the slower your progress will be. However, I believe there is one better method for intermediate athletes. So if you are a beginner, you haven't really reached a weight like 50 kgs on weighted pull-up, then please stick to the step loading method. You will progress like crazy on it and just milk everything you can from that method. And when you get to the point where you really struggle to make progress like more than once a week, then what Dominic recommends is to do one training session regular with these progressions, and the second training session during a week should be like an 80% intensity and volume compared to the first session. So assuming you are already strong enough to cause some serious damage to your body on the first training session, the second training session just acts as a kind of active recovery, so that you can really fully recover for the next week to make progress again. This method of progressing only once a week also worked for me. However, I now realize that there are better ways to do things. What do I mean by that? Instead of wasting a training session on doing just an easier version of the first training session, you could instead do a different variation of pull-up. And then it will provide a different stimulus for your body. It will act as an active recovery for the first training session, but it will also make you progress in that other variation of the pull-up. So on your first training session, you will just do Dominic Sky's step loading with regular overhand pull-ups. And on the second training session, let's say you choose to do chin-ups. And in order to provide even a more different stimulus for the body, you change the repetition range, for example, to 5 to 8. So now you just use a simple double progression, 5 to 8, on your second training session with chin-ups. So the exercise is different and the repetition range is different. So the stimulus will be completely different. It won't cause overtraining and it will let you progress in both the first training session with the regular overhand pull-ups and in the second training session with chin-ups. And obviously, as a result, your back and arms will grow even more effectively because you will use two different forms of pull-ups, two different kind of stimulus. But remember, as we said earlier, if you are a beginner and you haven't reached like 50 kg pull-up, then stick to the step loading, just step loading method, because you will do that 2 or 3 times per week. If you're like a completely new athlete, just do that 3 times per week and you will progress on every single workout. This is just the fact. And this method with these two different training sessions is for those who already can progress only once per week, so for already pretty strong lifters. So yeah, this is it for today. I hope you found this video helpful and see you in the next one. Peace out.